X&O's, de NBA-podcast van Friends of Sports.
Iedereen welkom bij X&O's. Zoals beloofd, al lang geleden, hij ging komen. Wel, hij is er. Toumani Camara in X&O's. Toumani, welcome.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, welcome. Really glad to have you here.
Yes, sir.
We discussed it before. We're going to do it in English, just so everybody can listen. The more, the merrier. Or if you want to try it in Dutch.
I don't think so. I wish.
How is your Dutch?
My Dutch is a little bit shaky. I used to know a little bit more when I was like 16 years old because I was actually obviously studying it. But since I left to the US, it's something that I haven't been practicing. So I'm losing a lot of words for sure.
But do you still understand it, or is it just the talking that's difficult?
I can do context clues, so I can understand sentences just by recognizing some words here and then. But no, having a full conversation, no, it's tough. It's
right.
tough.
No worries. You've been living in the States for about 10 years now, I think?
9, yep.
9 years, yeah.
Yep.
How many percent of you is still Belgian?
100.
100?
Yeah, 100. Nah, I just have a little bit of English accent when I speak sometimes. But yeah, 100% Belgian for sure.
Because you hear a lot of guys that move to the States that get Americanized. Mm-hmm. You don't have that.
Maybe a little bit in small things. But I think deep down, you know, I still see myself 100% Belgian. Every time I'm over there in the US, everybody sees me as 100% Belgian. The people that know me, at least. So
the Belgian guy.
Yeah.
What are the things you always do when you get back to Belgium?
See the family. First, I think is the most important for me. Eat some chocolate, eat some fries, and then try to give back to the city, to the people, to the country. Try to work with my team. Try to bring new things out here and innovate some new ideas and try new things out here.
Oh, yes. What are some must visits for you besides going to the frituur and get some fries?
So I went to Ghent. I took my girlfriend to Ghent, yeah. I want to take her to Bruges also. Go to Antwerp maybe.
Antwerp is always a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Is that where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Antwerp.
So yeah, try to visit as much as I can, you know, being here, growing up here.
She's American, your girlfriend?
Yeah, born and raised in Miami. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but so I never really been a tourist out here. So I never really visited all these cities. Every time I was going somewhere was for basketball. So when I brought my girlfriend, it was a chance for me to experience Belgium a little bit more. So I went and visit more places, and I realized there's way more than just Brussels out here. So I need to keep going.
It's a big difference though. If you're used to American cities and European cities, it's like going back in time. If you go to the European cities, they're much smaller, much more, my estimate, much more culture. Maybe that's a stupid thing to say, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think you hit it right on. I think a lot of the big cities in the U.S. is brand new buildings, all high rise and a bunch of office buildings and stuff like that.
They like that feeling.
Yeah. They like the new world. They're more like a new world country. And I feel like, I hear even back home in Europe in general, I think there's way more history in the buildings and the culture. And I think it's fun that you can travel, take a plane and experience two different things, but still people, you know, everybody go do job and do the same thing, but life is so different. So it's fun to experience.
Let's talk basketball. Are you watching the finals?
Of course.
Okay, what do you think about it?
I think it's a different type of final than usual. I think it's great basketball. It's the type of basketball that I like. So I try to watch as much as I can. It's hard to hear because the time change is killing me already.
Are you watching live or the day after?
I'm watching live. It's easier for me because I'm still a little bit jet lagged right now.
Okay.
So at 2:30, I'm starting to feel a little bit tired, you know. But yeah, it's great basketball. I was just telling my people that today. It's surprising you don't see a lot of teams that find their rhythm within the playoffs, and I feel like Indiana was able to do that. And OKC been great all year, so it was kind of expected for them to be in the finals, in my opinion, obviously. So yeah, I think it's a different type of finals that we used to see, and it's pretty exciting.
I think it's the best finals we've seen in more than a decade. Besides game 2, that was a little bit of a blowout and maybe the least interesting game, but games 1, especially 3 and 4. If you say these finals aren't interesting, you're not really watching the game.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're watching how these games are played, the intensity is mind-boggling at times.
No,
it's
for sure.
so impressive.
For sure.
Yeah. You played OKC, you played Indiana. First of all, what makes that OKC defense so tough and so historic? Because it's really impressive how they're like 5 people on a string, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the connection, I think that's what makes it. It's a young group that's been together for quite a while. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 years together. And they still have a lot of pieces that they keep bringing left and right. But the main core is a lot of the same guys. And you can tell the chemistry and the way they lead each other and help each other and communicate. I feel like that's probably what helps them the most. And then they all play really hard.
How do you play against a team like that? If you know you're facing that kind of defense?
You got to strategize, but I think you got to match that energy. You know, you cannot come in flat. You cannot come in with no energy, kind of like dragging feet and stuff like that. You got to punch first and respond when they're punching. So, and put them in tough situations, be aggressive most of the time. I think a lot of teams, sometimes when play against them, you can get deflated just because their connection is so well. They get stops on defense and make a lot of shots on offense. So it can be deflating, but it's all about up and downs in the game. But I feel like, yeah, it's a tough team to beat for sure.
You tell me, you're a defensive-minded player. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is he a free throw merchant? I don't think so, but you tell me.
I don't like saying that because I feel like what he does offensively, I try to do defensively.
Yeah.
Where in a way he's using the rules in his advantage.
But he's not cheating the game, right?
No, I don't
According
think
to me, he's not.
No, I think sometimes he enhances some stuff that's not a foul and sometimes can be seen as a foul, but I think it happens in a lot of scenarios. But I think his frame, how skinny he is and how fast he is, he has the ability to, like, as soon as you touch him, he's going to fly around a little bit easier than others than if you do the same thing on LeBron James. You know, he's a very more solid person and he used that to his advantage, I feel like, as he should. And I feel like I'm doing the same thing defensively, trying to draw offensive fouls and stuff like that. So I cannot hate on that.
How does defending Indiana feel? Because you just talked about matching the energy from OKC. Mm-hmm. With Indiana, that's maybe even more the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you said with Indiana, right?
Yeah, Indiana, because the tempo they play, it's murderous.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because they've always been a great transition team. Mm-hmm. So as soon, whether it's on makes or on misses, Halliburton pushing the ball really fast, and then now they're starting, as soon as somebody has a rebound, they're just pushing it and try to pass the ball up the court as fast as possible. So I think it's very tricky because the way they're playing right now, that's not how they were playing during the season. So it's really hard for me to say how to stop them as of today. But during the season, I think it was try to focus on getting back on transition and then attack them. Their defense during the year was not really that good. They were an offensive team, really trying to focus on transision. So
that defense evolved, right?
Yeah, it did. And I think they really found their flow. You know, they had Pascal that got there last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, last year, yeah.
And so they had to find a rhythm because he's a big piece for them. And they still had young guys like Naismith and Obi Toppin that also got traded 2 years ago. Yeah, Nembhard as well. So I feel like they just had to find, you know, their rhythm and they find it at the right time. And now they're in the finals and might win it. So
did you think that defense would be this good?
Their defense?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Because when we played them, I mean, we beat them both times and no, we beat them one time this past year, but my rookie year, we beat them twice. And it's like, and they've never been really good on defense. So I'm surprised that they were able to figure it out like that. But it makes sense just by how scrappy they are and how hard they play. Like I'm saying, it's all about connection and being relentless and never really stop. Keep going every time, going after action, whether you make a basket, whether you miss a basket. I think they're doing a great job.
What goes through your mind when you look at those type of games, that type of competition is like, I want to get there as soon as possible. Experience that?
For sure. I will get there. It's just a matter of time. But it's definitely the type of basketball that I dream to play, that's how the NBA dream came to me, just by watching playoffs. And then watching, of course, great players playing as well. But the playoffs was the basketball. Mm-hmm. I thought the whole season was like the playoff, you know? So then now when you dive more into it, it's two complete different basketball games, and it's definitely the game that I want to play.
Yeah, it's a dream for so many young basketball players to go to the NBA, to play basketball for a living. Mm-hmm. You're living that dream, of course. How is life as an NBA player 2 years in?
It's busy, tiring, but it's the dream. I'm loving it. I get to play basketball for a living. I'm enjoying myself. Everybody around me is proud of me, and and I got there with their help also, and I'm able to create a great circle around me that helps me a lot with all my ups and downs throughout those moments. And I feel like it's only up from here. I feel like there's so much more to build and so much more that we can do as a whole. I think talk about my group in this environment. So I'm excited to see the future.
What does a week in the life of Toumani Camara look like during the NBA season?
During the season, it's not really super busy because we have a lot of games. I mean, we have 82 games on span of 6 months, so it's nonstop. I mean, every time if you have a day off, you got to go and take care of your body, maybe shoot a little bit still. So I would say it's even more basketball. It just doesn't stop, and then it's just at the same time trying to find ways to stay focused on it and try to distract myself with other things, other hobbies and stuff like that. But yeah, it's every day is different. Every day is different depending if you have a game or a workout, and depends on what time you work out because you might have a plane at night or in the morning. So it's really hard to say like a day, but in a week it's probably 3 games on average a week, I would say.
A game day in Portland at home.
Yeah.
What does your day look like?
So waking up probably around 8 or 9, going to the facility, get some treatment, shoot a little bit. Might have a walkthrough around 11-ish. And then we just go through the plays, how we gonna guard them, what we gonna do defensively, what we gonna do offensively against that team. And then eat lunch, go back home, take a nap or whatever, wake up, go to the arena around, I would say, between 3:30 to 5. If the game, most of the time, the game are like 7:30 p.m. And then, yeah, after that, you get your body and your mind ready for the game. It's kind of like closed doors. You have some media coming into the locker room before the game, but usually it's not a lot of questions. It's more going out there, doing your warm-up, getting your body warmed up. Make sure you get your ankle tape, everything tape that you need, and then it's game time at 7.
Do you think that's weird? Or did you think that's weird that media is allowed to be in the locker room? Because if you look at how things in Europe are going, especially in football, that's something that's unimaginable. I went to the finals twice and I thought it was really cool just for me to be able to get inside a locker room. But how does that feel for a player to know the game's over, we've got 10 minutes and then everybody's coming in?
Yeah, it's not the best. I would say a little bit longer than 10 minutes would be nice. Maybe it's 20, 30 minutes. So at least you give guys a chance to go and shower and then you come back and then get dressed and then it's good now. Now the media's coming in. But then a lot of times you sit on a chair, you just played 40 minutes, you're sweating, you're tired. You sit on a chair, you take a deep breath, drink a little bit of water, put ice on your knees, and then now the media's here until the end, So it's like you gotta change and it's a lot. It's not a lot of privacy for sure.
Do you guys have one locker room? Because I went to, I think it was Chicago, where they had 2 separate rooms for the guys to change, so they had a little bit of privacy. How's that in Portland? I think so. I think it was Chicago.
Yeah, it's not really like that here. It's not really like that in Portland. We have the main locker room and then the showers and bathroom in the back. So you can go and change over there in the back so they don't see you. But it's still convenient wise, it's not the best for sure.
Yeah, wait till you get to the finals once.
Yes, sir.
Because then it's extremely packed. The difference between media and the regular season, the finals, that's really crazy.
I can imagine.
I think you played in every arena right now. In your 2 years now.
No.
Where did you play?
I'm missing one. I'm missing Miami.
You didn't play in Miami yet?
Never played Miami.
Okay. You're from the 29 other arenas. Which one is the most fun to play?
I really like Boston's because the fans are very intense and you can feel that it's going to be a big game. I like Madison Square Garden, of course. I think it's iconic. It's the Mecca. So, and then Chicago as well. Also, it did something to me the first time I played over there, just because it's such a historical court when you have the bull in the middle. I think it means so much to basketball in general. And then I think Miami is the last one that's missing for me. I feel like that would be a full circle moment for me just because it was my favorite team growing up. That was my first NBA game that I ever attended. Then my favorite player, Dwayne Wade, was in that team at that time. And Yeah, and then I went over there in high school too. So I think it's that would be the full circle
next
moment.
season.
Yeah.
Was there an arena where you had a little bit more nerves play? Just because, for example, like you said, Chicago, you know the history, you know the Michael Jordan Bulls. Were there some nerves to play there or somewhere else?
I think Chicago was all right. It was more like, oh wow, like this is the Bulls court, like, and then you see the jersey, Michael Jordan's jersey on top. So it definitely does something to you. But I wouldn't say nerve. I think it's more about how good the team is, you know, and if the fans is great too. So I would say I'm gonna stick to Boston and Madison Square Garden are probably the most. Yeah, you need to perform in those environments.
I get that.
You know, it helps for sure.
I get that. You're of course known for your hard-nosed defense. Congratulations, by the way, second team all defense. That's quite something that's unique for a player, and especially for a Belgian, for a European player. So congratulations on that. But playing defense, making the 50-50 plays, is that something that's always been part of you in your game when you go back to your youth?
I think so. Like I said, I was always kind of like an underdog, so I feel like that was a way for me to separate myself from others. Keep working on all the little things. How can I have an impact on the game? You know, I wasn't always a good shooter. I wasn't always somebody that can dribble the ball very nicely, and so I had to find ways to how do I stay on the court, or what do I need to do? How can my team need my help? You know. And I feel like defensively, that's where I kind of saw that I was able to have an edge on that, and I just keep attacking that aspect, and it just stuck with me.
How do you define a good defensive player? What is a good defensive player for Toumani Camara?
In one word, I would have to say relentless. Relentless, probably the biggest things, and then after that, is, you know, it comes with the IQ, and then it comes with understanding who you're playing against. A lot of study also of your opponent, and then. Yeah, that's what I would say. How
much percent is effort in your eyes? Because a lot of people say everybody can play defense. You just have to do your best, but it's more than that. Yeah,
I would say it's by between 65 and 75% effort. Because especially at the NBA level, everybody's an athlete almost at that point, and everybody can move their feet to a certain level, you know, but
not everybody wants to move their feet.
Yeah, but you can find different ways to have an impact, you know, like if you cannot really move your feet, but you jump high, you know, maybe meet him at the rim instead of trying to stop him early on into the drive. But there's we can get tactical with that, but it's more, I would say, yeah, if you're really relentless and you try really hard and you find ways to love defense, I think it's really hard to be a bad defender. And then learning how not to foul, I think that's probably the best thing. There's so many different ways you can be a good defender.
That's maybe the most difficult thing, right? Learning how not to foul.
Yeah, that's
it
experience.
Sounds easy, but it isn't easy at all.
No, it's not. But it's all about experience, you know? You learn about the more basketball you play, the more mistakes you make, the more you're going to learn from those mistakes and be able to make change to your game, you know? I feel like my rookie year, that was something that I was really struggling with, is I was fouling out a lot, or I was in foul trouble, not able to play the second quarter, because in the first quarter, I got 3 fouls already. So it was able to be smart, like in a way of early on the game, try to be not as aggressive, still relentless, but not as aggressive on try to steal the ball and all the little things that you can, all the little extra things, you know? And then if you have one foul and it's the third quarter, it's like, okay, I have 5 more fouls that I can do before I foul out. So I can be a little bit more aggressive. And if I get one now and then another one in 2 minutes, it's not a big problem. So it's all about thinking that. I feel like it's all about experience and try to strategize when not to be aggressive.
How did you try to learn that?
I mean, it's help from my coaching staff, people giving me tricks and stuff like that. And then also realizing the same way I was saying, I want to be on the court. That's what I want to do. I want to have an impact on the team. So when I'm in foul trouble, I'm not able to do that. I'm sitting on the bench and you can't do nothing about it because your coach needs you. And at the same time, it show respect. It's like, now we need you, so come sit down because I need you later. But it's it's experience and try to keep on finding ways to get better and finding ways to participate and help your team win and be on the court.
Besides from not fouling, what are the things that you learned if you look back at your first season to your second season in defense?
In defense, I think drawing offensive foul, like I would say, when I was looking at guys like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or even Anthony Edwards or Luka Doncic and stuff like that. The way they're drawing fouls was something that was really bothering me, man. Playing defense and I was struggling with it. And I was like, offense is only 50% of the game. Defense is another 50% of the game. So if they're able to do that offensively, I need to find a way to do that defensively. And I feel like I just try to enhance a lot of those situations and stuff like that, and also play the game in my advantage, you know, because a lot of people say it's an offensive game, not it's an offensive game, but I think it's because we're not going with the right mindset of defense have probably the same amount of powers as the offense. It's just certain rules or make it complicated. But you got to use those rules in your advantage, because even though offense has a lot of benefits, defense has a lot of benefits as well with the moving screens and stuff like that. So you got to use those tools.
Yeah, look at OKC. Defense is the reason that they're such a great team. Of course, they got Shea and they got Jalen Williams and Chet. They got some offensive pieces, but it's their defense that makes that team so great. And in my opinion, it's a defense from Indiana that makes a difference going on in this playoff. So it is an offensive game. It's people want to see offense, of course, but defense, it's such an underestimated part of the game. And
for sure,
in my eyes, it's an art. If you're really a good defender, like Draymond Green, people hate him, people love him, and his demeanor is something we can discuss. We can talk about for 4 hours if you want to. But the way he plays defense is art-like, actually. He's so smart on the court.
Yes, it's an edge. I feel like that's what separates a lot of great defenders, you know, when you have a player in the team like Jalen Williams for OKC is a great defender. Shea Alexander is a great defender, but Caruso and Lou Dort, to me, are the best two defenders just by how relentless, how every possession they're doing it, you know. And sometimes Shea or Jalen, they have to play a little bit bigger role in offense, so you know they might be a little bit more tired. So that it's not something that they're gonna do as consistent. And you need those guys in your team that come in and bring that energy, you know, especially on the primary defender. So it gives a reminder to everybody in the back. It's like you see him going super hard in front of you. It's like, okay, I cannot go slow now. Like I have to pick it up too. So that's what I think helps them the most, for sure.
And that's why I hate the mindset that some media members in the US have that are saying a perimeter guy can never win Defensive Player of the Year. I think if you ever play basketball, you know that's a bullshit statement. Yes, the metrics are always in favor of the big guys. That's true. But then you never play basketball if you say that, in my opinion. Because in my eyes, Lou Dort is the best defensive player the NBA has seen this season by far. What he's doing to Halliburton in these playoffs. You're going to say to you, I know, okay.
No, I'm not. I didn't say anything.
But if I had a vote, I would have voted for Lou Dort. What he's doing is,
for sure,
I think it's hell. I wouldn't love playing against you either. No worries. Who are the toughest guys to play against, to defend against, in your eyes?
To me, it was really the guards, like shifty, twitchy guards that have a lot of moves and
the
really
Shea types.
Yeah, that have a lot of control on their body. Yeah, I would say Shea, Anthony Edwards, and people that use a lot of screens too. Somebody that surprised me this year was Kay Cunningham.
He's strong as well.
Yeah, he's strong, and he plays at his own pace. He never gets sped up, and the way he plays with his pick and roll action, I think he's doing a great job at that too. And Luka, of course, I think with the ball screen and is also his own pace and able to pick you apart. I think it's really hard to guard.
Did you ever have any nerves against a type of player? For example, the first time you played KD or the first time you played LeBron. Were there ever any nerves?
Not really. The only person where I was like, oh, this might be tough was Stephen Curry, just because, like I say, he's a small guard that's also shifty, but he moves so much without the ball. And you might have 4 people setting a screen for him before he even touched the ball, you know? So you got to go around screens and screens and screens. And then if he catch the ball and make a 3, your coach is gonna look at you like, come on, like that's your job. You got to stay with him. So it's one of the toughest matchup in my opinion. Not really guarding him one-on-one, but like as a task, it's like the whole game you guarding Stephen Curry, you know your leg is gonna hurt.
Yeah, how do you prepare for that? Because like you say, for the game, you know, I'm gonna be tired as hell tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I think if that's what you do every day, if you run that much every day, it becomes the first season might be tough. You might feel a lot on your legs, and then that's who you are. So you do that every day, even at practice, even so your body get used to it. You get acclimated to it, and I feel like that was the biggest thing for me in my rookie year, especially after all the process, the summer league, and all the workouts I did before the summer league, and all the work that you do during the summer. Or you don't really get a break, So my legs was crazy at the end of my rookie year. And this year I was able to be smarter about my work and exactly know what to expect. So, your mind is already changed and the mind is powerful. So you can tell yourself a lot of things and it actually feels different in your body. You can wake up and be happy, and then now all of a sudden your legs don't hurt no more. It can rain outside and be sad, and then your body feels different. So I feel like that's all the small things that plays.
The progression you made, of course, a lot of people noticed it. Second team all defense selection, the accomplishment, that says it all. Mm-hmm. How did you find out you were selected for the All-NBA second defense?
I was with David, my agent. We were working out, and one of my teammates, Justin Manaya, that was one of the two ways with us, who I'm very close with. We were in Miami, and I was lifting. I had just worked out, and then I was in the weight room then. And then I just got a text from my GM because I was playing the music, and then I got a message. And he just said, "Congrats, like you made the second team all defense." And then, yeah, it was a fun moment.
Did cool. You expect to be second team all defense? You hoped it, of course, but
I hope to make one of the teams. Yeah, I hope to make one of the teams. It was definitely a goal that I set for myself, to try to be in that environment of some of the best players in the league, best defensive player in the league. And yeah, it was a fun moment for sure.
Do you have some other individual goals? Of course, the team goal is to win a championship, but do you have some other individual goals that you want to accomplish in the next, say, 5 years?
Yeah, I would say defensive player of the year, first team all defense, for in a rows. Try to not get it only one time, but get it multiple times, and then try to be all NBA one time.
I love that you don't say all-star.
Yeah, I feel like it comes with it. I feel like to be an all-star, you need to win games. So, in my opinion, so I feel like it's a bigger thing.
If the all-star game is still gonna exist in a couple of years,
yeah,
that's the question. What do you think about the new format that's coming next year, World against USA, if it's going through?
I actually like it a lot. I like it a lot because I feel like it's gonna bring more competition. And it's gonna be something more. You have to prove something now, because especially the NBA is nice changing. It's way more European guys and stuff like that. And I feel like the Americans are like, they're feeling it a little bit. And I can hear some of my teammates like, "Oh, you guys are everywhere now. There's Europeans everywhere." So I feel like the Americans will feel not threatened, but like we got to prove that America is still on top. And same with the Europeans, like we got to prove that we on top of the US. So
they should try something with the jerseys. For example, let the world team, let every player play in the national team jersey, for example.
Yeah.
Just to make it more different.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, or like even just add the flag on the jersey or something. But I really like the format of, you have one team away and one team home, but you keep your team jersey. I think that was the best.
Like it did in the late 90s.
Yeah. To me, that was the best. That was the best way to do it. Because you still represent your team, and that's one of the biggest part of making it to the All-Star game is like, I made it there, but like I'm still from Portland, I did it with Portland. And then on top of that, you put the flag on there. I think that would be a dope thing to do.
Do you think your chances may improve now that it's World against the USA?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility, It's some things that it gives more probability, but we'll see.
Okay. I want to go back to the very beginning with you actually. How did you start playing basketball?
My big brother. I was doing everything like him, wanted to copy him in life in general. And then he started playing basketball at 10 years old. And so I was going to his practices, and I always wanted to play, but, my mom didn't sign me up for it. So as soon as his practice was over, I just grabbed a basketball and start playing. So the coach invited me to a practice one time, and that's just how it kind of all started for me.
Immediately in love with the sport.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 8.
Okay. And is that also the first time you saw an NBA basketball game, or was that later in life?
No, that was not till I was like 10, 12 years old. Yeah.
Do you still remember the first NBA game you ever saw?
No, that's a good question. The first game I saw, it was definitely a final though. Before that, I watched a lot of, because on TV there was a lot of March Madness game, like replay. They replay March Madness game. So what it was like UConn with Shabazz Napier and like some old games like that. I feel like that's the first real basketball that I was watching. To me, that was the pros. You know, to me that was kind of like my NBA at the time. And then my first NBA game, no, I do not remember.
Which who were the players you looked up to when you started watching NBA?
Like what teams?
Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. So I was a big Heat fan. Miami Heat. My brother used to love Houston for James Harden and all that. So OKC, also a big OKC fan when the Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant was over there. Yeah, that was probably my three biggest teams. Yeah.
Which players influenced you the most?
Influenced me, I would say, for who I am today or when I was a kid.
Both.
When I was a kid, Allen Iverson was a big influence for me, I would say, with the headband and cornrows. And, you know, I mean, you can see it today. I feel like that kind of stayed with me a little bit. And yeah, also how he carried himself, like he kind of brought his own swag to it. And then Dwayne Wade also, just the way he was carrying himself on the court, he was just always looking like a leader, like somebody that wanted to win and doing so many sacrifices with LeBron James when he came to his team, even though that was his team. He did so many sacrifices just to win championships. And I feel like that was very admirable. But as of today, I feel like I watch a lot of Kawhi Leonard, you know, like even players like Paul George, like Scottie Pippen, like tall wings that can play a lot of defense and also have an impact offensively. I think that was a big thing for me.
The Scottie Pippen comparison is real. If you look at the physical attributes you got, the physical capacities, number 33 with the Trailblazers, it's no coincidence, but there is a lot of Scottie in you.
Appreciate it. It's not something that I really like to say because I feel like I always picked so many things from different players, but I can see where it comes from though, especially wearing number 33 in Portland and play defense like that. I feel like it all makes sense.
If you look back at your education, your basketball education, where do you think you learned the most basic fundamentals? Was that at the first club, or was it Saint-Hubert-Boisfort? That's where you started playing?
Yeah.
Or was it later at Woluwe when you got to another club? Where did you learn the most important fundamentals for you?
I think Saint-Hubert-Boisfort definitely helped me to love the game. It brought me so much joy and made me really enjoy play basketball. And then when I went to Woluwe, it was more really learning basketball and realizing even though I was good at Boisfort, I'm not that good in Brussel, you know? So I got to Woluwe at 12 years old, and then I really was able to learn way more about basketball with its fundamentals, how to shoot better, all the skills like that. You know, I even figured out that I was a lefty. I used to shoot with my right hand.
Really?
Until I was 12 years old, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you learn that you were a lefty then? Do you right, left or right hand?
I right hand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit ambidextrous. It depends for what. There's a lot of things I use my left or right for.
And if you kick a football?
Right hand or right leg.
So everything you do is right-handed except for shooting a basketball?
Not really, because I like to eat with my left hand more. I throw darts. I aim better with my left hand. Yeah, it's weird. It's all about feel, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, and then the way I found out that I was a lefty was my shot was never really good with my right hand. So I did a test with my coach at Woluwe to see like which eye you aim with, you know? So you just close your hand and from a distance you can see the eye of the person that they're aiming with. And it was my left eye. So he was just asking me like, oh, maybe you should try, you know, shoot with your left hand, see how it feels. And then we start, and it was looking way more natural and stuff like that. And it was something that I thought about before, but I used to shoot right hand when I used to be on the right side and then left hand on the left side. But right hand was my main thing because that's how I learned basketball. And so as soon as I did the switch, I kind of felt a difference in my shot, but it was a whole rebuilding. And then now I feel like my shot is finally feeling more comfortable than ever.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. But if you look back at those early years where you're going 12, 13, 14 years, you weren't always a player that was gonna make it, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. You talk about when I was in youth, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
When you were still in Belgium, where you were coming up.
yeah. I mean, I was never really the best in my team. Besides when I was at Boisfort, that was the first and last time that I was the best in my team. When I was at Woluwe, I was a good player. You know, I was kind of like a role player as well. We had some guys that had a bigger role given by the coach at the time, and I feel like it was more trying to figure out who I was. You know, offensively, I was still very lengthy. Didn't have a lot of was not strong. Was very skinny. My arms was kind of moving funny. You know, so. It was all about getting comfortable with that, and yeah.
When did you start thinking and believing I could actually make it in this sport? Was that before the move to the US or after that?
It was before the move to the US. I knew I could play somewhere, you know. When I was around like 14, 15 years old, that was one of my goals. I mean, just because basketball is what I loved, so I was like, I need to put myself into that business if that's what I want to do. And that's why my mom was really pushing it. If you're loving it, just do it 100%. And so I put all my mind and energy to it. So I was thinking about it. I didn't know if I was going to make it, but that was my objective. I never really told myself, you got to make it to the NBA. That's where we're going, whatever. Just try new things and try your best as you can to get to where you want to be, you know, as good of a basketball player you want to be. So it was just all about work and keep advancing and keep getting better.
When did you first get a call up for the national team?
When I was 16.
When you went to the European Championship?
Yeah. It's funny because I got cut from the pre-selection, and then they had how do we say tryouts? Some new tryouts to add on, and so I did the last tryout, and I got picked back up, and it really give me another boost of energy, you know. But then once I got to with the national team, I was playing maybe 10 minutes per game and then 2 points, and most of my minutes was garbage time or just 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here. So I feel like it was really it's also something that pushed me on I feel like I need to go and try some new things, you know. I feel like some more underdog mindset and keep push me to work on my game and keep on getting better. So I feel like it was a blessing, even though I didn't play. It was a blessing in disguise for sure. Do
you still remember the guys you played with on that team?
Of course. Yeah.
Do you know the entire team? Because I've got it here. I'm curious how many guys you still know.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the people that I know least. So there was Niels.
Yeah, Niels Ridder.
Yeah, there was there was 2 Niels.
No, there weren't. For my information, it wasn't. Maybe there was.
There was a guard. Van den Ende.
Niels van den. It wasn't in my. I know Niels van den Ende, but it's possible that it wasn't the team.
Yeah, I think he was with us.
The little guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was here a couple of last year, by the way.
Yeah. There was Vrens.
Yeah.
And then Niels, like you said, the big guy.
Niels de Ridder.
Yeah. Yep. Sacha de Vreugd, Edouard Madoki, Noé Bouteli.
Oui.
Boutuli, pardon.
Ouais.
Noé Boutuli. Moi-même. Sam Hoffman.
There's one guy that also went to the States. I think he's coming back to Belgium next season. He's got an American-sounding name.
Oh, Noel Coleman?
Noel Coleman.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Noel.
And the last 3, I think, are not that easy. Or 4, I think, yeah.
I can't tell you.
Kevin Silman.
Oh, yeah, of course, Kevin, yeah.
Vincent Giele.
Vincent, yeah.
En Alexis Amerlink. En Lucas van den Boogaard.
Yeah, Alex Amerlink. J'ai oublié ça.
Those were the guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't a bad squad, actually.
Lucas, yeah, that's right.
Wasn't a bad squad.
No. It was a good squad.
After that, you moved to the US.
Yep.
When did you plan on moving to the US? How did that go, that move?
So I was 15 years old, 15 or 14, 15 I think, and I started mentioning to my coach back home in Belgium because his nephew was Manu Lecomte, that was playing in Miami. So I asked him, I was like, how do I get to college? How do I get to that level? So he's actually David's best friend, and they kind of like already had talked about it. Like one of their goals was to bring kids from Belgium to the US and give them an opportunity to do more things and stuff like that. So as soon as I mentioned that to my coach, Nicolas Justins, how do I get to the US? You know, he's like, the best way to go to college is to go to high school. And so they talked about it together. And David had just moved to Florida at the time. And they just created a plan for me and started working and came up to me with a plan one day. It was like, the best way to do is go to high school. And then they presented to me and stuff like that. And to me, it was a no-brainer.
And what was the plan? How did that plan look?
It was 16, so go to high school, finish 3 years of high school, and then from those 3 years of high school, try my best to earn a college offer, you know, and in South Florida, and everything was gonna be taken care of. Like I would have a host family and stuff like that. So it was an amazing opportunity that changed my life.
That sounds simple, but for a 15, 16-year-old from Belgium, that isn't easy.
No, it's not. I mean, I didn't speak a word of English, so I had to learn the language. No, I had to learn the language.
How did you do that? And then who helped you learning English?
I mean, I was fully immersed in it. As soon as I got over there, my host family spoke English. And then luckily, David had his family over there, so I was able to also have somewhere to go to and speak French, you know, kind of like feel like at home. And it was fully immersion. I was fully into the language, fully into the culture. The only time I was speaking French was with David and his family and on the phone with my mom, you know? So it was, especially at 16, at a young age like that, you pick up things so fast. And I was watching a lot of movies, trying to force myself because my schoolmates was making fun of me because of my accent and stuff like that. So I was trying so hard to work on it and trying to lose my French accent. And I think it was a great environment.
But you were able to lose it. That's quite impressive because you have a lot of players. You see that especially in football. Thierry Henry, for example, or Arsène Wenger. That's even worse. But a lot of French guys that are not able to lose their accent. Even Tony Parker, you still hear it in his English. He's got a little French accent. With you, it's almost completely gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I was able to pick it up and work in, but it was something that I really put a lot of attention to, you know, just because I didn't want to get picked on. And even though it was a funny thing, you know, it was more like I just wanted to work on my accent. I feel like I was listening to so much rap and music, Lil Wayne and stuff like that when I was even back home in Belgium before the age of 16. And I think it was just so crucial to me to really, if I'm going to live over there, I don't want people to, as soon as they hear me, it's like, oh, where are you coming from? You know, and it becomes a whole topic. So I think it was important for me always to learn the accent.
Beside the language, what were the biggest adjustments for you?
I would say leave without my family. The food also. The food, the ingredients is so different. It doesn't taste the same. You don't have the same fresh bread than here. You don't have good bakeries like here. You don't have good...
In the US, they don't know what good bread is.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They don't.
They think they do, but they really don't.
Yeah, agree. And chocolate, fries... then a lot of my friends also. Then when I leave, it was just, you know, I had to start from zero. But I had the good weather, so that helped.
Yeah, I can believe that. What's the biggest difference between high school basketball in the US and youth basketball in Belgium?
The biggest difference, I would say, will be the speed and the physicality. I think high school here is very tactical, very smart basketball. And you don't have to be athletic to be on the court, you know? I feel like in the US, to excel, and most of the team have a bunch of athletic guys that can dribble the ball, that can dunk the ball, that can shoot the ball, and not a lot of A's and B, A, B, C, you know? Just not a lot of IQ. And I don't want to say this, it's dumb basketball, but it's not their main focus into the game, you know? They focus more on like speed and how can we get a lot of basket fast? How can we stop the team to score and efficiently and stuff like that? And I feel like in Europe is more movements, more strategy, you know, behind the sport.
You got your nickname in the US, right?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It was my first open gym. So we were playing in the US. I just got there, still don't speak a lot of English. And we playing, and I'm playing really good. It was my first day there. And everybody's like he's going crazy, like he's scoring so much. And then it was like, what is your name? And I was like, Toumani. And then one of the kids just say, oh, too many buckets. And it just stuck with it.
It's one of the best nicknames there is.
I appreciate it.
You know, you got another nickname according to Basketball Reference. You know what that is?
I think I know what you're going to say. I'm not a big fan of it, though.
The Shadow.
Oh, okay. I like that one.
I don't know what the other one is.
There's one that said the Belgian tarantula.
Ooh, nah.
No.
That's the Shadow is nice.
Yeah, the Shadow's great. I like it.
Belgian tarantula.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from.
That's a bad one. That's a really bad one. After high school, you went to college. Of course, how hard were you recruited?
I had about 20 plus offers.
20 plus?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, all Division 1, 2. Just a lot of mid-major. Not a lot of high major. I think I had Georgia, Kansas State, and that was probably my 2 biggest offers coming out of high school.
And which schools did you visit? Did you pay a visit to?
So my first visit was Kansas State. Then I went to University of Dayton. Then I went to Georgia. So I only took 3 visits.
Yeah. And why was it Georgia first?
I think it's because it was mainly because it was one of the biggest schools that I had, SEC. So I thought it was, you know, for the exposure and everything. And then the plan that the coach had for me, I think really sold me to go to the school. And also we had a great class going in, even though I was one of the first to go there. We ended up having Anthony Edwards and a lot of great players in my class, and we had a good group.
Yeah, Tom Crean was the coach, right?
Yep.
Did it play a role that he was also Dwayne Wade's college coach?
Yeah, probably for sure.
I was playing with Anthony Edwards as a freshman in college. Did you see immediately that guy's got something special that not a lot of players have?
For sure. He was the best player I've played against and seen from my own eyes at that time. And his work ethic, I think, opened my mind so much of how much you can actually do on your time off, you know? I feel like I knew how to work, you know? I know how to go and get shots up at night. But the way he was doing it every day and keep going to the gym, even after like a long road trip, we come back. The first thing he do as soon as we land is go to the gym, even if sometimes it was like 1 a.m., midnight, stuff like that. And it was very inspiring to see somebody young like that, 18 years old, 17, 18, I don't know how old he was at the time, to have that, to be that determined into the sport. So I feel like it helped me get a boost also. And he's somebody that always had a lot of trust in me and always telling me that, always believed in me that I was going to make it to the NBA with him. And it was very humbling.
It's crazy to say that, because if you hear the draft stories about the 2020 draft, he had the workout for the Warriors, and Steve Kerr and Bob Myers said, yeah, you're not working hard enough. Yeah. That's not the KD and Steph level of intensity that we're looking for in the practice. If you say he was already working hard, I can't imagine what the difference is he's putting in right now, and you guys are putting in right now if you compare it to the college level. For
sure. I think he always worked very hard, but he sometimes maybe a little nonchalant in a way of he's in the gym for hours and hours, and just by his demeanor, by who he is, you might think he's just not sprinting every reps like Stephen Curry, you know? He's not doing it. But I think now he's working differently, you know? He learned from that aspect. But at the time, I feel like that was a harsh way to judge him on that. I think so, especially though when you see his talent, everything that he was able to do, and he's somebody that works hard and play hard, and he wants to win a lot of games. So I think it's a harsh thing to say about him coming from me, knowing him.
And also, that was a weird year. There was the COVID year. Yep. That was a weird draft. If you look back at it, what happened in that draft, that's still very weird. You played at Georgia for 2 years.
Yep.
Why did you go to Dayton? I read it was because you had the feeling that you could develop more at another program.
Yeah, I think I needed a new challenge for myself for the next step. Be able to be prepared, like I keep on saying, as even though physically I was doing good for my age and stuff like that, I think mentally and confidence-wise, I had so much more work to do. So being in a new environment and start from zero and have a lot of young guys in Dayton really helped me of becoming a better leader, really understanding who I was.
Was that move necessary for you to make the step to the league?
Yeah, I think so. It brought me so much more confidence because I ended up being one of the youngest guys to one of the oldest guy. And then now a lot of people was looking up to me, asking me for advice and stuff like that. So it brings way more out of you. And now you take so much more focus off of you to put it onto other people, you know? So, and those people giving you making you understand that you're doing the right thing and stuff like that boosts your confidence in a certain way. And I feel like that's what I was lacking a lot throughout my career was have that aggression and have that confidence of like I belong, you know? I feel like I worked so much on my game and I have all the tools to be good at the game of basketball at that time. But mentally there was like a blockage of, I'm still going to be passive sometimes, you know, or like things go bad for me. Okay, I might be in a slump for a long time. And I feel like having to take my focus off myself and put it on other people really helped me of just being more consistent on my work individually because I knew they were watching and it meant way more for me than just do it for myself in some way. If
you look back at your college days, what are your most fond memories?
Man, all the team bound and all the time that you spend with your teammates, you know, get to meet new people and you with them 24/7. So you go to practice together, you guys in the same dorms, you guys sleep next to each other, you go to class together. So it's like you create so many brother-like relationship, you know, and I think that's definitely the best part of it.
Yeah, the college experience in the US must be something really special. I think that's something that a lot of European guys that don't get to experience that are rightfully jealous of.
Yeah, I can agree. Yeah.
Then there's the NBA draft, of course. Take us through that process. When and how did you know that getting drafted was a reality, and how did it go?
I would say my last year at Dayton, my last 2 years maybe at Dayton, I started thinking about it a little bit more that it was a possibility for me to get drafted. But really, my last year, I knew that somebody was going to give me a chance, you know, from what I was able to show my last year, whether it's from the leadership, whether how my body looked, how physically I was, and how much more ready I was offensively and defensively for the next step, and not be a player that you want to build onto, but like I could have come in and have an impact on the team right away. Just because I was able to spend 4 years in college and I was a little bit more mature and stuff like that. So I think that really gave me a bigger perspective on making to the NBA.
Yeah, and when did you know? And when did you know it was a real possibility? Because you're talking about possibilities that there's a chance, but when did you know? Okay, this is a reality. I'm going to put my name in, and the chance of getting drafted is higher than not getting drafted.
It never was.
Never was?
It never was. When I put my name into the draft my last year, I got the feedback and it was maybe 10%, maybe 15% late second round, and then in the 75% undrafted. But I just knew whether it's to the G League or through the draft or whatever, I knew I was going to be able to find my way into the NBA. So I just knew it was the year for me to go. And then I did a lot of things on the side, like Portsmouth, which is like a showcase for seniors for last year's in the US to kind of showcase yourself and get invited to the combine. And I went over there and when I saw the competition that I was playing against and playing good and I was killing it over there, I felt like, okay, I can do this, you know, because I had so much more confidence. I was able to be more free. You know, I was not in a system, so I was able to just go out there and play basketball. And I hadn't felt like that in a long time. And I think it really was a mind opener for me to realize that I could play.
It says a lot about how you evolved as a player. To have that, it says a lot about how you evolved as a player. To have the confidence to go to a test case like that, to get a spot at the combine, because you're not allowed to fail if you want to get a chance.
Yeah. And at the same time, I feel like you need to fail also to realize what you need to work on, you know, and to get better in certain areas.
And maybe that's why the college and high school years were so useful, to get the chance to fail and to make it after that.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I was also caught up into the fact that college is a system, you know, it's, you got to play a certain way and you put into a position and that's what it is. And then as soon as I was out that system and I was able to just go out there and play basketball, I realized how good a basketball player I was in a certain way of now I don't have no limits. I can do a little bit of everything actually, because it's the things I've been working on every summer, but I haven't really seen it because I didn't see it in the 5-on-5 settings, you know? So it was a great experience for me.
The draft combine, how do you prepare for that?
Work, a lot of work, a lot of work. I feel like that's all you can relate to. You got to go back to when you're in those moments is trust your work. If you work every day and you get better and you feel that you're getting better, it's going to help your momentum and your boost and your mental just by knowing, okay, like I've been here before, I've done these things before, instead of, you know, like just showing up one day and then expecting just because you've been good before that's how it's going to happen. You know, you got to stay consistent in your work. And that's what helped me a lot mentally to not be too stressed and never too high, never too low, and kind of stay focused on the mission. The
draft itself then, how did you experience that?
Like a simulation. It didn't feel too real, you know. Even to this day, I keep on talking about it with David a lot. It's hard to really sit down and understand like the scenario I'm in today, and getting drafted and go and shake the commission, the vice president of the NBA hands. And
take us through that night. How was that?
It was nerve-wracking because you never really know if things is happening for sure or whatever the case may be. So you're just sitting on a chair, it's stressful. Or you have your family with you. You don't know if, you know, like the 52nd pick was, I think I left the stadium, it was like 2 a.m., you know, after I've done all the interviews and stuff like that. So a lot of people sat through the whole draft, didn't get drafted. And you have your family with you, everybody. So it's like, it's a very stressful moment. You don't know how it's going to happen for you, especially late in the second round like that. So it's, no, it was a magical, though. It's a very special moment that I never forget. It's
a risk to go to the arena where you're not sure to get picked.
Yeah, for sure. But what I feel like what I was able to do at the combine and at Portsmouth and all those things, I feel like, you know, like we knew we were going to get a chance. And even if you don't get drafted on draft day, you might get a call for like a training camp invite or a G League, something. So we knew that the news was going to happen. We don't know if it was the draft or if it was something else, but it happened to work out perfectly.
Did you get the call from Phoenix before the pick happened? Or were you surprised?
After I got the call.
So you heard your name before you knew you were going to get picked?
Yeah, I mean, we had good feedback from them from going to the workouts. You know, it was one of my best workouts when I went over there and show myself. So we knew that they were really interested in me for sure.
Were there other teams that showed interest?
Oh yeah, there was a lot. So I did 18 draft workouts. Yeah, it's a short period of time too. So it was a lot of travels as well. And then some teams called me again, like I think it was Boston and Indiana actually called me again. So I did twice the Indiana and Boston workouts, and it just shows that they have a lot of interest for you.
You in Indiana.
Yeah.
that would be a great match, I think, with the way they're playing right now.
For sure.
Are you one of those guys that can name every pick that was chosen before you?
No, not at all.
Not like Draymond Green who can.
No, there was 51 of them. Yeah, I know that's a lot. But no, I mean, I know faces. Like I can tell you if I see them, okay, he was in my class. I know we got drafted the same year and stuff like that. But no, I never really viewed it like that. I just knew I had a lot of work to
But is that extra motivation when you're playing guys that were picked before you?
For sure. Even now when I'm watching games and I see players in Indiana or OKC that's in my class, I'm like, man, like I'm jealous right now, you know, like how come they're there and I'm not there at the moment. So it's all the little things like that.
Greedy, but that's in a good way, hungry.
Yeah, for sure.
How is Summer League for a guy that's fighting for a roster spot? Because even though you get drafted when you're the 52nd pick, you're not guaranteed to get a spot.
I got lucky because I did. Lucky. I've worked for all of it, you know. But it's when I got to Phoenix, I was able to show that I can have an impact right away, even at training camp for the Summer League, and so a lot of the coach and everything I was able to gain their respect pretty early on. So I think they kind of trust me right away. So I was having a lot of playing time, and I was just, like I said, there was no system. I was not really put in the box. It was more go out there and play, and excuse me, and it just went well. You know, I was just able to be myself and not really worried about misses and lose balls and stuff like that. And I feel like that's the best way for me to play basketball.
Yeah, it was quite obvious after, I think, 1 or 2 games in Summer League that guy is going to get a spot. I think everybody knew, especially people in Phoenix, because you never played a game for the Suns, but people in Phoenix loved you.
No, right away. It's funny because I feel like a lot of people in the United States saw that and understood that, but back home in Belgium, it was still like, for a lot of people, it was hard to believe, you know, that a Belgian player was going to make it to the NBA. So even after Summer League, there was a lot of doubts on, is he still going to play? Is he still going to be able to find a spot and stuff like that? And it's like,
I think that's weird especially because of the profile you have. I think the type of player you have is the type of player that every team could use. There were questions before, for example, is he going to play in Phoenix? But the type of player you are is exactly the type of player that a team with superstars can use. But that's an advantage for you in my eyes.
For sure. I think, you know, you never know if it was a better scenario unless it would have happened, you know? I feel like I would have took out the best of the opportunity no matter what situation I would have ended up in. And yeah, I think the profile that I have right now, being 6'8" and lanky and be able to move my feet like that and make threes, I think it's a profile that a lot of teams is looking for, especially when you have a team like Boston that's been winning. And now you see like OKC and Indiana, it's a lot of tall guards. You have to stop Pascal Siakam, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Shea Alexander. They're all 6'8". They're all 6'8" or 6'9" with length. And how do you stop that? Is by matching that physicality and that size. And I feel like that's what a lot of people is looking for today.
But also the mentality, right? Because it appears to me that it doesn't matter for you if you get your shots or not. Of course, you want to get your shots, you want to get the ball. But if it doesn't happen, you're still going to play.
Yeah,
you got some other guys are pouting or they're unhappy. You don't appear to be that kind of guy.
Yeah, of course, like I keep saying, you need to be relentless, especially in a business like this. And because there's cameras everywhere. Like here today, there's this all around the court, every movement you do, like it's seen and it's studied in microscope on the microscope, you know? So it's you gotta be smart with how you move on the basketball court and especially if you want to win games, you know, you cannot take plays off. I never really understood that of you want to win the game so much, but your energy is not at a high level. I feel like even when I miss shots and stuff like that, I might be down on myself, might be more aggressive defensively and offensively, but I'm gonna still try my best to give a lot of effort, you know, and that's just something that I think gonna stay with me my whole career.
You also learn quickly what a harsh world and the NBA is and how reality feels in the NBA after getting traded. How did you learn you were getting traded from Phoenix to Portland?
So we were playing pickup in Phoenix right after the Summer League. So it was, we did a mini camp in Los Angeles with everybody. And then we just came back from there. And then we started the training back up. And in the middle of the pickup, it was, I think, first team to win 3 games. And then my team won 2 games. And then we lost. We on the bench. And then they stopped the whole 5-on-5. And then everybody's confused. They're like, no, we want to keep playing. Like, why you guys doing that? Whatever. It's like, nah, it's over. Like, the gym's closing. And everybody's confused. So I'm going on the side and I'm going to get a little bit of extra shots. And they're pulling me. There's like, you need to do a little bit more of measurements. Can we go and talk to you in the training room? And I was like, I've been here for a month and a half. I've done all the measurements, you know? So I'm going inside the training room and then I think they were waiting for the GM and everybody to come down. And then Devin Booker walked in and looked at me as like, yo, they're sending you to Portland. And at first I'm thinking it's a joke, you know? I'm laughing, I'm smirking. And then he's like, no, I'm serious. Like they're sending you to Portland. Like I can't believe it either, but they're sending you to Portland. So it was a shock. So I was like, oh, wow. And then all of a sudden I start feeling my eyes tearing up because I'm like, I've just did all this work, you know, to build myself to a spot in the team, you know? So now I'm going somewhere where I knew Portland had a lot of young guys, especially in my profile, that just got drafted also in the same draft as me. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to start from zero. So I had to take my time for myself a little bit and kind of understand the situation and everything. But yes, it was a great welcome to the NBA for sure.
Yeah, that's a harsh reality. You know exactly what the NBA is made of. And also privately, you probably were already looking for places to stay.
I just had my apartment. I just had the keys in my apartment. Just bought a car. My girlfriend was on the way. The day after I got the call, she was gone. She had a flight coming with our dog and everything. So it was like this. No notice.
It's crazy that it can happen that quickly. Yeah. But the thing is, the people in Phoenix weren't happy to see you go. The Suns fans. Yeah. If you read Twitter, if you read the online reactions, they hated that you were part of that deal.
Yeah. No, I've seen that a couple of times, and it's funny because still now, every time I do something good or stuff like that, I get a lot of texts from Phoenix fans. I was like, man, I can't believe we let
should have been with us.
Yeah. So it's funny, but you know, it's how life goes, and everything happens for a reason in a certain way.
How did the Trailblazer organization welcome you?
Really great, with open arms. You know, it's a very young group also, so the support around the team is amazing. Everybody's energy is always at a very high positive level. So I think it helps me a lot to make that transition pretty smoothly and easily. And like I said, even the people that I have in my team around me kind of help me a lot doing that, whether it's from my agent or whether it's from with my family or with my partner. It's everybody was very supportive and very believing in my ability. So it was very easy for that transition.
And also the thing is, Portland has one pro organization. They have the Trailblazers, and that's it. That's the most important thing there. Yeah. And I've been to Portland 3 years ago. I think you feel that's a tight-knit community as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel it. Like, we the main thing, like you said, we the main thing in town. And the fans are great, whether we losing, whether we having a 4-44 season or 20-40 season, they're always gonna come and show support. And I think that's amazing, and that makes you want to build something out here in Portland. You know, when you see the love that the fans have for the game of basketball and the respect that they have for the Portland Trailblazers, I think it helps a lot to want to build something bigger out there.
What do you remember about your first official game?
My first official game, having my family in town. It was in Los Angeles, and we playing the Clippers, and then playing Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden, you know, the first game of my career. And then scoring, you know, like being able to score, get a block, play some good basketball, you know, for the first time. And I was like, it was a crazy moment to kind of understand.
What went through your mind the first time you put on that jersey?
It was more staring at it. You know, I kind of looked
in the locker room.
Yeah. I kind of looked at it for a long time and take pictures and understand like that's it. Like, I'm in the NBA, you know, like got to really embrace it. But at the same time, you have the nerves of, it's the first game. Like, I have to perform. I have to show that I can play in this league and stuff like that. So it's a mix of a lot of emotion and but it was a dope moment. Like I say, it was also kind of like the draft in a way. It was a simulation. I don't have a lot of big memories in my head, but I have a lot of pictures, so it helps.
Because you just have to go through it. You live it because it goes fast, I can assume.
Yep.
What did you have to learn about an NBA game before you stepped on the court? Like going in for a substitution, it's different than it was in college. It's different than it was in Belgium. Yeah. What did you have to learn?
What is nice is that the team, Portland, they did a great job on, since we had a lot of new guys, young guys, we do like a session before the season start where they kind of like explain all the small rules with for the subs, the certain new rules with the refs and stuff like that. And every year you have a meeting with referees before the season starts to explain if there's any rule change and stuff like that. So it's pretty straight to the point. But one of the biggest rules was make sure you have your jersey tucked in. You know, that's really important because the subs go by fast. So you just got to be ready for the moment.
How does a sub work in the NBA? What do you have to do? Do you have to do anything?
This depends on the coach. A lot of people demand that you run to the table. There's no...
But do you have to say something to an official at the table, or?
No, you just got to be at the spot, and then the table hits the horn whenever it's time for a sub, and then the official is able to see, or if the official sees you at the table, he knows that the next time he's going to sub. It's nothing too crazy.
You don't have to ask something that people sitting at the table that you want to go in.
No, you just cannot go by yourself. You got to wait till coach call you.
I get that. How hard is it for you to, how hard was it for you to define your role in the team? Because like you just said, you had a month and a half in Phoenix and you went to Portland. You had to start from scratch, but the season didn't start yet. How did you define your role in that scene?
I think my role did not change from Phoenix to Portland. It was mainly defensive because, we had other guys already established like Jeremy Grant, Shaden Sharp, Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton. So it was more about how can I fit in? Again, like how can I get on the court? How can I play with these guys? And I think it was very important for me to implement that defense. And when I actually got traded to Portland, I wanted to show that it was right before training camp. So it was 2 days before training camp. So as soon as I get over there, it's like we go to training camp, we go to Santa Barbara actually, and we just play a bunch of 5-on-5, learn the system and stuff like that. So I was like, I need to have a bigger impact. I need to show them that I'm here. Like they need to see me in a certain way. So the biggest thing for me was I'm going to guard full court all the time. And that's all I did. And I was guarding Anthony Simons full court. And Chauncey Billups, even to this day, telling me like that's how he really appreciated me, especially him playing for Pistons at the time, was very rough.
With that
team.
defense.
Yeah, exactly. So he really appreciated that and saw how relentless I am on the court. And that's how I was able to gain his respect pretty early on.
Yeah. Did Chauncey Billups help you in your defensive mind, your defensive evolution? Because like you said, he played for that 04 Pistons with great defensive guys like Ben Wallace, like Tayshaun Prince. And Tayshaun Prince is maybe a guy that can help with some kind of some tips.
No, for sure. I think, like I said, when I mentioned about the fouls and stuff like that, he's somebody that also helped me a lot on being smarter about the game. Not especially how to move my foot, how to do this, how to do that, but really how to more think the game, because at this level, everybody got a lot of skills. But the IQ and everything is really what separates great defenders and bad defenders. And good defenders. And same thing with great offensive players and good offensive players. And so it's the small things like that, just telling me that I need to be less aggressive in the early in the game, more aggressive towards the end of the game, how to manipulate the game offensively also. Like if I see that there's a good defender on Anthony Simons, that I'm going to just go and set a screen because there might be not as good of a defender on me. A bunch of things like that, not only defensively, but in general, try to help me think the game a little bit more.
Who helped you the most in your rookie season?
Who helped me the most? I would say DeAndre Ayton, just because we got traded together. So at first he was kind of the only person I knew. And just by, sticking with him and be with him and understanding kind of like the world of the NBA. And if I have to say another person, would be Gilbert. He's like our player development, who put a lot of time and work into try to get each player better, work on your game when you have to work skills and stuff like that. It's with him. And he always right away is somebody that's very positive, always trying to talk you up and help you in your craft. And we gain respect for each other very quickly. And we spend hours and hours in the gym. And he helped me keep my head on straight when I had a lot of low moments and telling me to go in the gym with him and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Every rookie, of course, has vets and rookie duties. Who were your vets? What did you have to do as a rookie?
It's funny because we have a very young team. So I had vets, like older guys, but I would say I didn't have nobody that I had to do things for in a certain way. And our rookie duties was we had to just wear like a princess backpack.
What was yours?
It was like a unicorn. It was like a unicorn backpack with a bunch of like shiny things on there that we had to carry on every time we were going somewhere.
But you stopped using it right now.
Yeah.
It would be cool to just do it for the rest of your career. The unicorn backpack.
I don't know. If you like it so much, I can give it to you.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we can give it away to one of our listeners. They would like that. You, of course, developed already a lot from your first to your second season. We already talked about the defensive aspect. If you look at your offense, I think especially your shot that got way better. you look at it from the percentages, then you see it's better, but also just the technique. It changed from your first weeks in the NBA to how it looked the last weeks from your second season. What did you do to change your shot?
It was more polished. There was a lot of things where my shot was not as consistent. I was missing a lot of left, right. And the goal was just trying to make my shot as straight as possible. So the only thing I have to focus on is the strength of the shot, you know, and making it really like natural. And I don't even have to think about it no more, like becoming a habit of a movement. And I feel like my shot was moving a lot. Sometimes my elbow was a little bit more out than other shots and stuff like that. So it was not consistent. So yeah, just repetition, a lot of reps.
Conditioning as well, maybe?
Oh yeah, of course.
For example, when you're more fatigued, the elbow goes out more.
Yep. And I think that's something that I was able to learn throughout my rookie year. Because towards the end of my rookie year, during the whole year, I keep working on my game. And towards the end of my rookie year, my shot and my offensive game was getting way better. And I think it's, like I said, the best way to get better to me is to play 5-on-5 and experience things in the game. And I was playing with that intensity every game. And my shots was a little bit wonky sometimes. So I had to go back to the gym and polish it. And so it became a big emphasis for me. And then the next year I was able to know like exact same thing, like knowing exactly what to expect. And I worked a lot of reps on my shot, a lot of down and backs, running, and then keep shooting a lot of shots just to put yourself in a fatigue mindset, moment and be able to still be a good shooter.
What part of your game that got better are you the most proud of?
I would say my mental. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of confidence before going into the US. Even in the US, I think before going into college, it's something that I was struggling with a lot. And as of today, I feel like I'm pretty confident in everything I do on the court. And it's all about doing it. You know, I'm not scared to fail no more. I'm not really, when I have good moments, I know how to bring myself down pretty fast. So yeah, I think it's just, my confidence, I would say.
Of course, NBA players have to watch a lot of film. How much film do you watch individually and with the team?
I watch a lot. I watch a lot of game live. I love watching game live, but that's more because I love watching basketball.
Just to relax.
Yeah, but studying, I do a lot, especially during the season, especially the person that I'm about to guard. I like to know exactly if they like driving left, then a little bit more than right, or when they drive left, they like the step back and shooting, stuff like that. Because everybody have habits, even if it's unconscious. Everybody does. Not everybody's have like so much in their bag, you know? It's like they find something that they can do great and they're going to just abuse it, like try to kill you with it. And so it's really trying to study those moments and defensively, offensively also try to make better reads offensively, less turnovers, and defensively, committing fouls, the fouls that I'm committing, and how can I be better on going through screens and stuff like that.
I think it's fascinating how some NBA players, especially the defensive-minded players, can study one guy because they know that's their matchup in the next game and try to figure out what the moves are, but also much more than that. I saw an interview with Kobe. I saw it again last week. It was talking about Kevin Durant and talking about he's the only guy that I couldn't figure out because he said, I count the things some players do. I count his dribbles. I count those things. But that's next level. Is that with you also the same? Do you count how much dribbles, for example, Anthony Edwards uses, or if you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, are you trying to find some patterns in their game?
Not really, because I feel like a lot of the offense now is a lot of reaction of defense. So if I count those dribbles, then I'm sinking myself a little bit too much into his style of play, and then his counters might work better if I'm putting myself on the same tempo as him, especially. So what I try to do is I try to speed up player most of the time. Just so I create the tempo in a certain way. Where it's like you don't just do whatever you want and I let you do it. I'm just trying to read you, you know. I'm going to send you left, for example, so I know where you're going and that's where I want you to go. You know, in a certain way, I try to control the offense more than the offense control the defense, you know.
Are there some players that you play against, if you go up against, and after a couple of minutes, you feel like, for example, it's the fourth time you played them in your career, and you feel like, oh, I got him figured out.
Yeah.
Are there some guys?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't want to say names though.
I thought so. I wasn't going to ask, but I thought so.
Yeah.
That must be as a defensive-minded player, that must be the best feeling. Just knowing it doesn't matter what he does. I got every counter move.
Yeah. And I think it comes a lot to study. I feel a lot. The more guys I study in the game, I really feel the difference, And there's games where it's back to back, so I don't really have time. We go to the hotel. It's 2 a.m. I'm not trying to watch the film. I'm just trying to sleep in. So I sleep in, go to the gym, straight to the game, and then it's like, boom, I got Steph Curry right now, and you just gotta figure out in a certain way. And you feel the difference when you don't really take that extra time.
That's what I want. That's why I want to see you in a playoff series, because then you've got the time. You've got more time actually, and you got at least 4 games to play against one player.
Yeah,
I love to see you go up against Anthony Edwards, for example, because you know him personally. I think that will be a fascinating matchup to see you just go up against him.
No, I agree. Every time I watch those games, I'm like, man, sometimes it's 7 games in a row you play the same team. I'm like, this in my head, I'm gonna tell myself there's no way he scores on me. After 7 games, there's no way. But it's the same offensively. Offensively, I was like, I play 7 games against him. Now I know exactly how he plays defense. And that's a basketball that I wanna play in for sure.
Yeah, especially the fatigue when that kicks in, because in the conference finals or the second round, you got 1 day between each game.
Yep.
That's almost like back to back for a couple of weeks in a row.
Yeah.
That must be impressive to do that.
It is.
If you look at your game for the next couple of years, what do you want to see improve?
Everything. I think the biggest thing for me is more like a team thing. It will be just get more wins, I think that's...
You get bad like that. You're in the West. It's nothing against the team, but it's a bloodbath out there.
No, it is. A lot of good teams over there in the West, but I think it's possible. I mean, we missed the playoff of 3 games, something like that, this past year. So I think, especially with the same guys returning, all of us maturing and knowing exactly what to do. I think Donovan Klingen, not being a rookie no more and experience the whole season, I think is going to help us a lot, especially on defensive end.
And Scoot, we're still waiting for Scoot to really bloom. Because you see him at practice.
Yeah.
Are you still seeing why he was chosen 3rd overall and why he was the prospect? People were even doubting, is he going to be Scoot or is he going to be Wemby? Of course, Victor Wembanyama is a different beast. Yeah. But do you still see why he got all the hype?
For sure. It makes a lot of sense to me. Especially it's a reminder for me that to realize he's 2004. He's 4 years younger than me and we were the same draft. So it's like, I feel like a lot of people had high expectation on him just because what he was able to do in the G League and how he's been viewed his whole career. But I think he still has a lot of room to grow, and he's somebody that wants to learn and has spent most of his lifetime in the gym. And
we judge too quickly.
Yeah, I think so. In my opinion, I mean, I think everybody has expectation like that on you, and when people have expectation like that on you, it makes it tough because you have to prove it, And like when you have people like LeBron James that has also a bunch of expectation coming out of high school, he had to prove it. He proved it. And it's a little bit tougher because we were in a scenario where everybody was trying to figure it out. I got traded. He got there also at a young age, and he was all of a sudden, there was not like a real point guard to really like mentor him, So it was a challenge for everybody, but I'm pretty confident on what he's going to be able to do in the future.
I think also in the last couple of months, you saw the progress in his game. It started getting better.
Yep. Yeah, I think his pace is getting better. His decision-making is getting better. And he understands right now how much of an impact he can have on a team just by his speed and his decision-making. If he make quicker decision, I feel like that's the next step for him.
Are you guys close as a team, actually?
Yeah. Very close.
You do things outside of the gym?
Yeah, I try to. I try to get some guys to get out the comfort zone and communicate a little bit better. I go to a lot of my teammates' houses, play video games, and spend a lot of times on the roads. It's pretty hard because we spend so much time on the road together that when we get to the hotel, a lot of people just leave me alone, And I get that everybody's different, but we trying to do team dinners here and then. And sometimes going out, do some shopping together as a team and stuff like that.
Some shopping together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in Portland, or where do you guys do that?
Oh, like on the road.
Okay, on the road.
Yeah. We go on the road. Like when we on long day trip, like sometimes we gone for 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah. And people don't harass you?
Don't what?
Don't harass you, because everybody knows you're a professional basketball team.
Yeah.
If you see a bunch of tall guys together.
No, it happens. It happens. But sometimes we have security come with us, or sometimes it's just like 3 or 4 of us and we just kind of wear all black and, you know, like don't really make ourselves that...
wearing Portland Trailblazers tracksuits.
Exactly. So and then we go maybe like an hour, 2 hours before the store closes. So we don't go at prime time.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be smart. Yeah.
Smart, yeah. What is the ideal role you see yourself playing if you look at the years to come?
I think it's gonna keep on growing. I think as of today, I'm playing defense and making threes and communicate with my team and facilitate. But I think my offensive game is keep on growing every day. I keep getting more comfortable with who I am, and I played in the 5 my whole career in college, you know. And even in high school, I was never like a guard. I was kind of setting a lot of screens and pick and rolls and stuff like that. So it was an adjustment. And even though it's something that I've been working on every summer on my guard skills, I never put it into use in the game. So it was it's gonna be interesting. I think the sky's the limit in a way of the way I've been working on my game my whole life. That's what I'm gonna keep doing, and I know the way I've been progressing. I know it's gonna go the same way.
If you could write the script yourself, how would the rest of your career look like? You could write it down right now.
Multiple championships, defensive player of the year, 2 or 3 times, a couple first team all defense, and yeah, being successful. You say career basketball career, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and hopefully doing that in Portland.
Okay. Please, if you talk to some American reporters, convince them that also perimeter players also can win Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Because I think it was Tim Bontemps from ESPN that said it in the Hoops Collective podcast with Brian Windhorst, and I didn't like that take at all. Yeah. If you say that, so that means that Gary Payton could never be Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make sense to me. How important is it for you to be an example for Belgian kids?
It's very important to me. I feel like that's something that I was not really able to have as a kid out here in Belgium. And it's something that a lot of kids and myself was searching for, kind of like somebody to show us that it's possible. Like there's way more to do out here in Belgium than for a Belgian person. There's way more to do than just stay here in Belgium and try to make it to the D1 out here. I feel like the level out here is actually not going up. I feel like it's going down in a certain way for basketball in general. So I feel like you need people like AJ and myself just to be able to put basketball a little bit more on the map and give more interest to the sport to Belgian people. And when you look also at what the Cats is doing, be able to put more lights on women basketball as well, I think it's huge for the country. Do
you feel that already, that you're being an example for young kids?
Oh yeah, when I have the chance to give back, when I have camps and events like yesterday, I had an event, a combine event for Dream Big for our association, which is just bringing a combine environment for the kids out here in Belgium. When I'm able to see the impact that they have, that I'm able to have on them during those moments, and I see a lot of myself in them, and I think it's the biggest message that I'm trying to send right now. That bunch of things is possible.
Yeah, of course. I think you feel that already. A lot of young guys that play basketball, especially the young kids. When I was younger, there was Rick Smits. There was a Dutch guy. So that was the closest we got to having somebody from our neighborhood playing in the league. Then, of course, the French guys. But a Belgian player, yeah, we had Didier, of course. But you have to be real. Didier didn't really play much. But you guys play, and that makes all the difference. AJ is still in the finals. Of course, he had the bad luck of being injured 3 months that got him out of the rotation. But you guys play significant minutes. And I think that for a lot of young kids that can open their eyes, that this is a possibility. It's not easy.
Yep.
Maybe it's not even possible for a lot of guys, but it can happen.
And yeah, I think that's the goal. And that is something that I can start thinking about. You know, it doesn't mean that you're going to get there, but it means like it can bring so many ideas in your head of, okay, now I'm really concentrate on that, and it can send you to ACB in Spain, or you can go play in Greece and have an amazing experience as well. You know, it doesn't have to be the NBA, but it just put basketball in a lot of people's mind that it's not just, you don't have to just play it for fun. You know, I mean, of course it's going to stay fun, but you can dream about it. You know, it's a possibility to actually do something with the game of basketball coming from Belgium.
You already said a couple of minutes ago that the level in Belgium, you have the feeling that it's going down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea how we can change that?
It's very complex.
I know.
It's very complex.
I know it is. I know it is.
I think it's all about, you know, the way the media perceives it, and also the importance. We're in a country where soccer is dominant, and that's just what people like, you know.
And cycling.
Yeah. And I think there's a way to grow the sport, but you need to show interest. People have to show interest into it. So how do you get people to show that interest? And I feel like right now the biggest thing is to talk to the youth about it. You know, it got to be a culture thing that you build bit by bit. It's not something that you can change just by buying new clubs and investing a bunch of money on new clubs. Because at the end of the day, if nobody watches it, how are you gonna make profit or, you know, get the thing going? So I think it's really try to recreate this culture of good Belgian basketball within Belgium. When I was young and I was going to see Spirou or even Austin, then sometimes coming to Spirou, and I used to get free tickets on my birthdays. And I was going and the game was packed, you know, and it was like, I was watching this, it was like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to play for Spirou. Like, that's what I want to do, because that's all I knew. And I see the environment, it was amazing. And then now, even when I see it on TV, it's like not even half of the bleachers are like filled, you know. It's not a lot of fans, not even the gym, not a lot of gym opens out here. So it's a lot of things that we can talk about this all day.
I know, I get that. It's because it's sad to see that the arenas, you can't really call it arenas, but the gyms aren't really filled enough for the guys that play and for the love we have for the game. And like I said, when you were younger, you went to Spirou. Back when I was 8, it was Racing Mechelen with Bill Varner. And if you look at the teams right now, okay, in the playoffs and the finals, people come and watch the games, but in the regular season, it doesn't feel that alive. And that needs something.
No, for sure.
Yeah. But the thing is, the Belgian Cats, they get full houses. I think it was against the USA last year that 13,000 people in Antwerp in Sportpaleis.
Yeah.
So people are interested in that product. But then you look at the competition, nobody wants to watch the female competition D1. So that's a problem in my eyes as well.
Yeah. But it shows you what winning does, you know.
That's true.
The Cats win as a team, and now there's more, like, especially with the Belgium across the chest, there's more pride in the country. Like, they go to France, and you go to the Olympics, and they're able to perform the way they did, and really put on for Belgium on all over the world and stuff like that. So it brings a little bit of light to it, but it's not enough to change the whole culture, you know.
But it helps people to learn the game, because a lot of people never watch basketball, and that's what the Cats have done. Their success in the Olympics, their success in the European Championship 2 years ago, it started something. It started a movement, and I hope that it gets bigger and bigger. How big is your desire to represent Belgium?
That's what I do every day. That's what every day.
I mean, for the national team, I know you do, but to play with Belgium on the chest.
It means a lot. I mean, it's definitely something I want to do in my career for sure. We see how things go, but it's definitely something that I would do. Because
the last time you did, was that with the U16?
Yeah.
So the only time you played for the national team was when you were 16 years old?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is.
That's crazy. Is there somebody with the national... I think Frans is the only one that's still in the selection right now, if you look at that team.
Yeah, from the U16, yeah.
And maybe Niels, if he keeps on playing like he did last season.
Yeah, those are only 2. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had a good squad at U16 though. But no, props to them. I mean, they're able to do that and keep going with it. So yeah.
But I hope it works out, because if you look at the young prospects Belgium has, we got you, we got AJ, we got Jaden Hodge coming, Matthew Hodge, maybe Thijs Ridder. There are some young talents, Frans Blijenberg with it. There are some young talents to build a nice squad, I think.
Yeah, I think there's even more than that. There's Stefan Swenson, there's Aubin also that was at Utah State.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great guys. I mean, like you said, the Hodge brothers also that keep bringing some more light to the game, to the Belgian basketball game. And I think we can for sure build something great with the new generation.
Last topic, next season. It's hard to say because apparently, according to Shams and Brian Windhorst, it's going to be the craziest offseason ever. Mm-hmm. You never know what's going to happen, of course. But how can you guys make sure that the Trailblazers get a spot in the playoffs? I'm not talking about the play-in, but in the playoffs in the wild, wild west.
I think it's always really hard for teams when they do a complete rebuild. I think it's something that can take 4 to 5 years, to fully rebuild a team. And I feel like we have a pretty good core right now. So I think we just need a couple more pieces, or it's really hard because the GMs and everybody have the different vision on what they want to do with the team. And you don't really have a say so as a second year player and into how you want to construct your own team. So
is there somebody in the roster, in the players group that talks with the GM about building a team, or is it just the front office that does it with the coach and you guys, you don't know anything about that?
I think some people have more leeway on recommending things, but making decision now, like it's never like that. I mean, it depends on the situation, on the relationship that you have with the GM. Now I know like Shea Alexander or Anthony Edwards probably have a lot of things they can say, like LeBron James and Stephen Curry. Like if they want a player in their team and they go to the GM, it's like, that's who I want. The GM is so invested into those players that it's like, okay, I'm gonna just go with him because he's the face of my franchise, So it's all about status and stuff like that.
Okay. Going back to the States tomorrow. And when are you coming back to Belgium again? Is that next year or how does your schedule look?
I'm coming back in July, actually. I have the camps for the kids.
And where are those camps?
I have one in Braine-l'Alleud. I have one here in Flandre. And then I have one in Brussel.
Okay. And fully sold out, the camps?
There's still some space in Braine-l'Alleud. But all the other ones are sold out.
All right. And where do the people have to go to get some spots?
If you go on our website, Dream Big, or on the social media also, Instagram, Dream Big, you should find all the information.
For all the people that are listening that got kids,
yes, sir,
just make sure they subscribe. Right, yes, Toumani, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It's really fun to have you here. Good luck in Portland next season. We're going to stay in touch and we're going to follow you all the way. Thank you, man.
Thank you for having me, man.
Jullie bedankt voor het kijken. Luisteren. Het was de voorlaatste aflevering van het seizoen. Normaal gezien toch. Volgende week is er nog een finals review. Dan komen Niels en Tijl langs. En misschien daarna nog een special over de Belgian Cats. Hangt er vanaf wat er op het EK nog allemaal gebeurt. Maar dat zullen we dan nog wel zien. Dus bedankt voor het kijken, voor het luisteren. Tot volgende week. Salut.